Hello, Professor. This is the video presentation for COMP 482's Assignment 3 at Athabasca University. My name is Karan Randhava, student ID 3365148, and in this presentation, I'm going to be demonstrating my prototype implementation for Assignment 3, along with some key discussions on the project scope and the purpose of the design, as well as a brief overview of the implementation technologies that were used for this prototype. So let's begin. Well, first of all, the project scope is basically to demonstrate how the low fidelity prototypes implemented in Assignment 1, when they're implemented as a working prototype, how do they impact user experience and how positively do they increase user experience. So, and the purpose of the design is, like I said, just to have a proof of concept of how the implementation increases user experience and how key issues that were discovered in Assignment 1 can be addressed using a working prototype, and then recommended solutions can be supported with a working prototype, basically. The main tasks that are covered on this presentation and this prototype, well, first of all, is to allow users to scan an item from a list of items onto their order. This cannot be done because we don't have physical barcode scanner available, but this was simulated on this implementation with the idea of having a list of items on the left that acts as the user's cart, and the user can then add items from that list onto their order by clicking on the item's name. That represents scanning an item in real life. Now, another important task that the prototype implements is editing an order in the middle of the transaction. And since this is not supported in the existing system in use at Walmart, this was one of the key issues discovered in Assignment 1's task-centered user walkthroughs. And one of the other important tasks implemented on this prototype is splitting payments when paying for the order, as well as signing up for delivery if required, because these are, again, some of the key issues that were discovered in Assignment 1 that the system does not currently implement, and therefore these recommendations, along with the prototype implementations, stand as proof as to how would these recommendations improve user experience. So the way these walkthroughs were performed, especially for the heuristic evaluations for Section 2 on Assignment 3, is me being the subject itself, imagined as being one of the users at Walmart and carrying out a transaction. And that is how I realized there still are some issues with the system that can be improved upon. And of course, this is only a prototype, so it does not necessarily fulfill all possible requirements, but it does address some of the most important issues discovered in Assignment 1. Also, the way the low fidelity prototypes were built in Assignment 1 was as simple as pen and paper and sketching ideas that fulfill requirements and issues. And these prototypes were then used as a starting point for this implementation as to how would the working prototype that has been built right now would look like and behave like. Again, for this implementation, the framework used was .NET framework, and the programming language was C#. The specific kind of framework used was a Windows Forms application, and the reason this was used was, again, like I said on the email, because of the proficiency I have with C# and not much experience using user interface tools and UI design technologies with Java or C++. Now, the design itself that stands on this prototype is one that implements most of the ideas that were noted on the low fidelity prototypes, along with some minor changes that are discussed on the Assignment 3 report that I'm submitting along with the video. So please look into that for more details. Now let's perform a demonstration of the prototype and see how walkthroughs were performed initially. I'm going to run this application through Visual Studio, but you can always run it with the application package that I will be attaching on the assignment. The first screen that is presented to us is Walmart asking if you need Walmart bags at all. for your transaction. And the reason this appears in the beginning is because one of the issues discovered in assignment 1 was the existing system at Walmart does not ask this, and at the end of the transaction, when the user is about to pay for their order, that is when the system asks them if they would like to use Walmart bags, or simply asks them the number of bags they ended up using, which can lead to a bit of confusion for the customer, because for example, if they did not use any bags at all, then why is the system asking them about the number of bags used? So in this case, we're going to say yes, just to see how it behaves. This is the cart simulator that I talked about earlier, where it has a list of predefined items that can be edited from the Visual Studio, and they all have a code associated with them for identification purposes. So simulating scanning is as simple as clicking on an item, and that adds the item to the order list for the current transaction. So let's say I add a few items, and that updates my subtotal in real time, just like on the existing system. Now, one of the most important implementation differences in this prototype is the edit order functionality. So assume that I would like to remove this t-shirt from my order, since I don't like, or I'm not comfortable paying for this price. So I go click on edit order. I want to completely remove this item from the order, so I click on the code and click on remove item, which will ask for a confirmation, and once I approve, it removes that item from my order. Now, once I'm done editing my order, I can click on done. That takes me back to the item scanning stage. I can scan further items, and oh, I just realized I scanned the bananas twice. So what can I do in this stage? Well, I will go to edit order again. I would click on any one of the instances of the bananas, click on edit quantity, and as you can see, the current quantity is 2 because there's 2 instances of bananas on my order. I will reduce that to 1, click on done, and that removes 1 instance from my order. Like I did earlier, once I'm done, I click on done and I'm taken back to the scanning stage. Now I'm happy I have scanned all my items. Assuming I have scanned all my items, I click on finish and pay. That adds a new entry to my order, which is the charge for the Walmart bags, since I said yes when I was asked initially if I would like to use any Walmart bags for this purchase. And just a side note on the way I'm calculating the number of bags used is the total number of items in the order divided by 4, rounded off to the nearest decimal. So, and the reason I did this is because I would like to avoid Walmart asking the user for the number of bags, because this opportunity can be misused by the customer for saving money, because there's a charge for the bags. But again, this logic and this calculation logic is very unrealistic, but it's only for the purpose of this prototype, like I have mentioned on the assignment 3 report. Now I have to choose a payment method, so I'll click on cash initially, and this tells me to insert bills and coins one at a time, and tells me what my order total is, rounded off to the nearest 5 cents. I click on OK, and the system assumes that as soon as I click on OK, I have successfully paid for the order, and that's why the system terminates, because the payment has to be handled on a different layer and not on this prototype, since we cannot accept payments here. So I click on OK, and that is the end of the transaction. Now let's do another test run where we will see how other features of the application behave. Now I'll add a few orders again, a few items, sorry, and click on finish and pay. Here I'm asked to choose a payment method again. We already tried cash, well, credit card, debit card, and as well as the Walmart rewards card. They're all pretty much the same. They tell the user what their order total is, and then the system assumes that the payment will be carried on the payment terminal and not through this system, because the payment has a dedicated terminal for it. So there's a couple of things that I would like to talk about here. Well, the first one is the split payment feature, which does not exist on my current implementation, on the current implementation at Walmart. So as soon as I click on split payment, I'm asked to select 2 payment methods that I prefer. I select cash and credit card, and here I'm asked if I would like to have equal halves for my payment or have a custom amount specified. So as you can see, my order total is $38.63. I would like to pay $20 on cash and the remaining on my credit card. So that tells me my $20 have to be paid by cash and $18.63 by credit card. I click on OK, and the system assumes I have paid for them. Again, because payment has to be handled separately. So that was a quick demonstration on some of the features implemented on this prototype. And again, I will be supplying you with the entire application package, and you can run through this prototype, perform additional tests, and additional evaluations as well. Well, that was my video presentation for assignment 3. Thank you for watching.